Baltimore wasn't always the city people talk about today. It wasn't always a national headline for violence, corruption, and systemic collapse. Once upon a time, Baltimore was a thriving port city, a manufacturing powerhouse, a place where working-class families could still believe in the idea of progress. But over the years, Baltimore transformed into something else entirely, a place where entire neighborhoods feel abandoned by the very system that was supposed to protect them. A place where violence isn't just common, it's expected. A place where the police force itself became part of the problem instead of the solution. And a place where residents learned that calling 911 doesn't always mean help will come. The story of Baltimore's slow decline isn't about one single moment. It's about 1,000 small failures adding up decade after decade. It's about a drug economy replacing the legitimate one. It's about communities losing hope, police departments losing control, and a city becoming a symbol of what happens when crime becomes the main driver of local life. This crisis didn't just appear out of nowhere. It grew slowly, quietly, out of the cracks in the city's foundation. When factories closed, jobs disappeared. When jobs disappeared, poverty exploded. When poverty exploded, drugs filled the void. And when drugs took over, violence became the new currency. Block by block, corner by corner, Baltimore's streets changed into something unrecognizable. There are parts of Baltimore where children grow up seeing things that no adult should ever have to witness. Shootings in broad daylight, open-air drug markets, police tape wrapped around playground fences. Mothers calling their kids inside because they heard gunshots 3 blocks away. We're talking about entire blocks where most of the houses are boarded up, and the rest are controlled by people who profit from the suffering of everyone else. And the most disturbing part is how normal all of this has become for the residents. In some neighborhoods, the sound of gunfire isn't an event, it's just background noise. People learn how to live around danger, not how to avoid it. They know which corners to cross and which ones to steer clear of. They know which streets belong to which crews and which hours of the night belong to everyone else but them. For years, Baltimore's murder rate has been among the highest in the entire country. Not just high, historically high. Numbers that would be unthinkable anywhere else in America have become routine, and behind every single one of those statistics is a story of someone whose life ended too soon, and someone else whose life ended the moment they pulled a trigger. These numbers represent shattered families, traumatized neighborhoods, and communities worn down by a crisis that feels endless. The city's drug economy feeds on desperation. When legitimate jobs vanish, the illegal ones become a lifeline. When people feel ignored by the system, the local crew can feel like a source of protection. When schools fall apart, the streets become the real classroom. And when young men grow up believing they won't make it to their 21st birthday, long-term goals become meaningless. Why would you think about the future if you don't even believe you'll have one? Baltimore's violence isn't just random chaos. It's structured. It's organized. It's embedded in the social fabric of these neighborhoods. Territory matters. Corners matter. Loyalty matters. One small argument can spiral into a feud that lasts for years. One wrong move can turn into a tragedy. And in so many cases, people don't call the police. They don't call because they don't believe help will actually come. Or worse, they believe calling could make things even more dangerous for them. The police department itself has been fighting its own collapse. They are understaffed, overworked, and deeply distrusted, and in many cases, deeply compromised. When the very force responsible for stopping crime becomes known for its own corruption, for brutality, and for internal breakdown, trust disappears completely. Residents begin to see the police not as protectors, but as just another danger to avoid. And the cycle just keeps going. The story of Freddie Gray became a national symbol of everything wrong with Baltimore's relationship with law enforcement. A young man arrested for nothing more than running, placed in a police van, and dying a week later from injuries sustained while in police custody. The city erupted because that story was all too familiar. Communities felt like they had seen this movie before. A system harming the very people it was supposed to serve. Freddie Gray's death wasn't just an isolated tragedy. It was proof of a deeper rot inside the police department. It exposed officers who cut corners, ignored protocol, abused their authority, or simply stopped caring because burnout had completely consumed them. It exposed leaders who tried to fix the department, but ended up revealing even more dysfunction. This wasn't just about a few bad officers. It was a culture created by years of immense pressure, mismanagement, and a total lack of accountability. Baltimore ended up in a situation where both sides, the community and the police, were trapped in a cycle of fear and mistrust. Residents didn't feel protected by the police, officers didn't feel respected by the community, and violence filled the space between them. When a city loses trust in its police department, criminals feel empowered. When police lose trust in the community, they become reactive instead of proactive, only showing up after something bad has already happened. And when both sides feel completely abandoned, the streets are the ones that decide the rules. The collapse of order in Baltimore is a complex story with deep roots, and understanding it is the first step toward figuring out what comes next. Thank you for watching. If you found this insightful, please like, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments below.